My girlfriend said, I'm going on a girls' trip, no questions. I smiled and said, have fun. Then I sent her dad the recordings from the hotel. 48 hours later, her entire family disowned her. I, 31 male, Jason, am a pretty simple guy. I run a small, successful online business. I have a close circle of friends, and for the past 3 years I thought I had the perfect girlfriend, Stephanie. She was beautiful, smart, and funny. Our life together was comfortable. We weren't talking marriage yet, but it felt like we were on that path. About a month ago, Stephanie came home from her marketing job all excited. Babe, guess what? The girls and I are finally doing it. A weekend trip, just us. We're going to a resort a few hours away to just unplug and relax. I smiled. That sounds great, honey. You deserve a break. Then came the first red flag, so small I almost missed it. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, she said, a little too quickly. And, well, it's a no boys allowed trip, like strictly. No calls, no texts unless it's an emergency. Just a real girls' weekend, you know? I raised an eyebrow. Okay. A bit dramatic, but sure, I can survive a weekend without you. I meant it as a joke, but she didn't laugh. I'm serious, Jason, she said, her tone suddenly sharp and defensive. I'm going on a girls' trip, no questions. The way she said it, it wasn't a request, it was a demand, a boundary being drawn in permanent marker. I'm not a jealous guy. I've never been one to check her phone or question her whereabouts. But this felt different. It felt like a test. Or worse, a cover-up. My gut, which had served me well in my business dealings, started screaming. Instead of arguing, I just smiled. A calm, easy smile that didn't reach my eyes. Okay, Stephanie, have fun. Her shoulders, which had been tensed for a fight, relaxed. She gave me a brilliant, relieved smile. Thank you for understanding. It's just what I need. The next week was a flurry of her planning. She bought new outfits, a ridiculously expensive bikini from a brand I'd never heard of, and a new suitcase. She was giddy. I played the part of the supportive boyfriend, helping her pack and telling her how much fun she was going to have. But in the background, I was grappling with a sick feeling in my stomach. I thought about confronting her, but with what? A gut feeling? She'd call me controlling, paranoid. She'd turn it around on me so fast my head would spin. The no questions rule was her shield. No, I couldn't fight her on her terms. I had to know the truth on mine. My younger brother Timothy is a tech support manager, not some elite hacker, but he knows his way around a computer. He owes me for helping with the down payment on his house. I called him, feeling like a scumbag. Timothy, I need some advice. It's delicate. I explained the situation. He was quiet. Jason, this is a dark road, man. Are you sure? Once you know, you can't unknow. I'm sure, I said, my voice tight. I'd rather be hurt by the truth than made a fool by a lie. He sighed. Okay, look, I'm not helping you hack the Pentagon, but people are careless. Does she use your home computer? Do you know the password to her laptop? I did. We'd shared it ages ago for some forgotten reason. Yeah, I admitted, the word tasting sour. Then it's simple, but dirty, he said. There are dozens of keylogger programs out there. Some can do screen captures. You install it, and it uploads the logs and shots to a cloud folder. It's scummy, Jason. And probably legally gray as hell, but if you have physical access and the password, you can do it. I felt a knot of guilt tighten in my stomach, but the memory of her cold, demanding tone pushed it away. The night before she left, while she was in the shower, my hands were shaking so much I could barely type. I sat down at her laptop, entered her password, and followed the instructions Timothy had sent me for a program marketed for employee monitoring. It took 10 agonizing minutes. Every creak of the floorboards made me jump. When it was done, I closed the laptop and felt like I needed a shower myself. When she left the next morning, she gave me a long kiss. I'll miss you, she whispered. I'll miss you too, I said, looking her straight in the eye. Have fun. I spent the next 24 hours in a state of nervous energy. I checked the secure folder Timothy helped me set up every 30 minutes. At first, it was nothing. Logs of her searching for the resort, texting her friends. Then, Saturday afternoon, a new file appeared, a screen recording, with audio, from her laptop's microphone. My heart hammered against my ribs as I clicked play. The resort room was nice, spacious. Stephanie was there, laughing, but she wasn't with her girlfriends. She was with a man. He was tall, good-looking in that generic gym bro way, and he was her boss. George. I'd met him a couple of times at company parties. He was married. The screen recording showed a video call window open on her laptop. They were talking to another couple, but the audio from her laptop's mic picked up everything in the room. I heard her say his name. I heard him call her my little secret. I heard them talk about me. Is Jason suspicious at all? George asked, his hand tracing her back, just off camera. Not a clue, Stephanie said with a laugh that made my blood run cold. He's so trusting. It's almost sad. He just smiled and said, "Have fun." He probably thinks I'm off doing face masks with the girls. Good, George murmured. We don't need any drama. The recording continued. It captured everything, the whole sordid affair, right there in pixels and sound waves. It was devastating. I sat there for a long time, the screensaver eventually kicking in. The calm I had projected to Stephanie was gone, replaced by a cold, hard certainty. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated deception. My first instinct was to blow up her phone, to scream, to rage. But then I remembered her entitled tone, her dismissive laugh. An outburst was what she would expect. It would give her the chance to play the victim, to twist it. No, she didn't deserve that satisfaction. She deserved consequences. Methodical, strategic consequences. And I knew just where to start. Stephanie worships her father, Mr. Davis. He's an old-school traditional man, a man of honor and principles. He built a successful construction company from the ground up. He despises liars and cheats above all else. He's fond of me, has often told me he appreciates how I treat his daughter right. I saved the screen recording. I isolated the audio clip of them mocking me. I made 3 copies. Then, I opened my email. My hands were steady now. The shaking had been replaced by an icy resolve. The subject line was simple, regarding Stephanie. I attached the files. I wrote a short, simple message. Mr. Davis, I am deeply sorry to have to send this to you. I believe you have a right to know the truth. The attached files were recorded in the last 24 hours. The man with her is her married boss, George. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the send button. This was the point of no return. But then I thought of her laugh. It's almost sad. I clicked send. Then I started packing her things. Every last dress, every shoe. I wasn't going to be emotional. This was a severance, clean and decisive. Update 1. It's Tuesday. The silence in my apartment is heavy. Her side of the closet is empty. It's done. And honestly, I don't feel calm. I feel wired, like I've had 6 cups of coffee. My sleep has been terrible, but I don't regret it. The bomb went off Sunday morning. I got the read receipt from Mr. Davis's email late Saturday night, and then nothing. The silence was worse than an explosion. I barely slept, imagining a dozen different scenarios. The first call came at 8 a.m. Sunday. It was him. His voice was gravelly, like he'd been up all night. Jason, he started, and there was no warmth. I have seen what you sent me. Why would you do this? Why would you send this to me? For a second I was thrown. I expected anger at her, not at me. Mr. Davis, I thought you had a right to know who your daughter really is. You thought you had a right to shame my family? He shot back, his voice cracking with a mix of fury and pain. To air our dirty laundry, this is a family matter. You should have come to me like a man, not sent this filth. He hung up. My heart sank. Had I miscalculated? Had his instinct to protect his family's image overridden his principles? I felt a wave of nausea. But an hour later the first call from Stephanie came through. I ignored it. Then another. And a flood of texts. Stephanie, Jason, what did you do? My dad showed up at the hotel. He showed up and dragged me out of the room. You had no right. This was private. You spied on me, you freak. Stephanie, pick up the phone, you coward. We need to talk. You've ruined everything. Everything. The entitlement was breathtaking, not a single word of apology. Just pure, uncut rage that I had dared to pull back the curtain. The "you've ruined everything" was the kicker, not "I've ruined everything." It confirmed I'd done the right thing. Mr. Davis's anger at me was likely the first blast from a man who didn't know where to direct his rage. His actions going to that hotel spoke louder than his words. I didn't respond. I turned my phone on silent. That afternoon, the banging started on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole. It was Stephanie. Her face was blotchy, her eyes red and swollen. Jason, I know you're in there. Open this door right now. I just stood there, my back against the door, listening to my neighbor's doors creak open. The humiliation was a direct consequence of her actions. Finally, she screamed, "You'll regret this, Jason," and stormed off. The next call was from her mother, Mrs. Davis. Her tone was cloying. "Jason, I know you are hurt. Stephanie made a terrible mistake. This man, her boss, he took advantage of her." "She's 28, Mrs. Davis," I said, my voice flat. "The recordings make it clear it was mutual. Her father is destroying her over this." She said, the sweetness vanishing. "He took her car keys. He's frozen her accounts. He says she is no longer welcome in our home. This is your fault, Jason. You could have handled this with dignity." "With all due respect," I said, "I packed her things. They are by the door. I simply provided information. What Mr. Davis does with it is his choice. Stephanie's consequences stem from her actions, not mine." I hung up before she could reply and blocked the number. I spent the rest of the day arranging for a moving service. It cost me a few $100, but it was worth it to have her stuff gone. As they loaded the last box, I found the shared tablet we used for recipes and watching shows in the kitchen. On a whim, I opened it. She was still logged into her work email, and what I saw made my blood run cold all over again. Update 2. It's been just over a week. The adrenaline has worn off, replaced by a grim exhaustion. Thank you all for the comments. It helps to know I'm not crazy. The attempts to pressure me have gotten more sophisticated. After blocking the family, I received an official-looking letter. It was from a law firm. My stomach dropped. It accused me of illegal surveillance under state wiretapping laws and distribution of private material. It demanded a public apology and a settlement of $20,000 for emotional distress and reputational damage, or they would pursue both civil and criminal charges. My first call was to Timothy. He swore, "Dude, I told you it was legally gray." My second call was to an actual lawyer. Miss Edwards, my business attorney, was blunt. "This isn't a slam dunk for them, but it's not nothing either," she said after I explained everything, including the keylogger. "The fact that it was her laptop but in your shared home creates a legal mess. A prosecutor probably wouldn't touch it, but in a civil suit, they could make your life hell for a while. This is a scare tactic, but it has teeth. They're betting you'll pay to make it go away." There it was, the first real consequence for me. Justice, it turns out, isn't free. I had to pay Miss Edwards a $5,000 retainer just to handle it. That money, gone from my savings, made this very real. Miss Edwards drafted a response that was a masterpiece of legal maneuvering. She didn't say they had nothing. She acknowledged the complexity of the privacy laws, but pivoted to Stephanie's own culpability. She noted that any reputational damage stemmed from her documented infidelity with a married superior, and that my actions were those of a distressed partner discovering a breach of trust. The core of her argument was simple. Does your client really want to detail the specifics of her affair, her fraudulent relationship with her boss, and her deception in a public court deposition? Because we will absolutely go through discovery. This will be far more damaging for her than it will be for my client. She sent the letter. We haven't heard back yet, but the $5,000 is still gone. A quiet rage settled in me. They cheated, lied, and were now trying to make me pay for it. Then came the next escalation. It wasn't a hack. It was cruder. I got security alerts from my business's social media accounts, my email, my web hosting. Failed login attempt. Dozens of them. The password reset requests flooded my inbox. Timothy checked the logs. The attempts were clumsy, using old passwords, pet names, birthdays. They all came from a public library IP address near where her best friend Melissa lives. It was Stephanie. Desperate and vindictive. She was trying to get into my accounts to wreak havoc, delete files, post garbage, anything to hurt me. She was trying to attack my livelihood. That's when I remembered the tablet. The one with her work email still logged in. My plan had initially been to just wipe it and be done. But now, after the legal threat, after the login attempts, no, the rules had changed. I spent an entire night scrolling through her emails. It felt disgusting, but I was past caring, and I found it. A clear pattern. George, her boss, was expensing lavish dinners with clients who were just his college buddies. He'd forward the receipts to Stephanie to file. There were emails where she bragged to a coworker about a client gift she'd received from him, a $1,200 handbag that was clearly on the company dime. It was blatant, documented corporate fraud. My revenge was no longer just about informing her father. It was about ensuring her actions had consequences in every part of her life. She attacked my work, so I would aim at hers. I compiled everything. The emails, the chat logs where she and the coworker joked about George's creative accounting. I found the chief financial officer and the head of HR on the company's official website. I created an anonymous email address. The subject, internal review request, expense reports in the marketing department. I laid out the evidence of fraud, attaching the documented proof. Then I added the final paragraph. This financial misconduct appears to be linked to an unprofessional relationship between manager Joas Name and his subordinate, Stephanie Davis. Their behavior, which included conducting their affair on a company-funded trip, demonstrates a profound lack of judgment that has created a toxic environment and poses a significant liability to your company. I attached the emails, the chats, and the 30-second audio clip of them mocking me. I hit send, my heart pounding not with guilt, but with a cold, clear sense of purpose. This was a war she had started. I was just finishing it. Final update. Hello again. I think this will be my last post on this. The dust is settling, but the landscape is ugly. There's no clean victory here. The email to George's company worked. Faster than I expected. I got a message on LinkedIn from a man I didn't know. He was a senior guy in their finance department. Can't reveal sources, he wrote, but wanted to let you know George and Miss Davis were placed on indefinite leave last week. An external audit has been called in. They were both officially terminated yesterday. Thank you for your discretion. Fired. Both of them. The news didn't bring me joy. It was the grim satisfaction of a building being demolished. Necessary, but still destruction. Then there was George's wife, Sharon. I didn't just find her email. I found her public photography page on Facebook. I sent her a message. My name is Jason. I was the partner of a woman having an affair with your husband. I have irrefutable proof. I am not asking for anything, but I believe you have a right to the truth if you want it. She responded an hour later, send it. I did. Her reply was just 2 words, thank you. A few days later, her profile picture changed to one of just her and her kids. The final word came from Laura, Stephanie's sister. She found my work email and sent a message that felt like an epilogue. Laura, Jason, I know you have us all blocked. I don't blame you. Mom is still trying to defend Stephanie. Dad isn't speaking to either of them. He's not just angry, he's broken. He told me, it's not the affair, it's the dishonor. The smiling in your face while she plots. That is not my daughter. He's paying the bill from their lawyer just to make it go away. But he's told Stephanie she's on her own. She's a mess. Not remorseful, just enraged. At you, at Dad, at George, at her company. She believes she's the victim in all of this. Melissa kicked her out. I think the failed attempt to get into your accounts was the last straw for her. I just wanted you to know. You didn't destroy our family. You just held up a mirror to it. So where does that leave me? Not at peace? Not yet. I won, I guess. I defended myself. I delivered consequences. But it cost me $5,000 in legal fees I'll never get back. It cost me my faith in my own judgment. For weeks I felt like I was looking over my shoulder, half expecting some new form of retaliation. The anger is gone. The hurt has faded to a scar. I don't hate Stephanie. I feel nothing for her at all. She's a stranger who happens to star in some of my worst memories. Her entitlement was a cancer, and I had to perform radical surgery to get it out of my life. But surgery leaves damage. It's not a clean fix. I'm moving on, but I'm not the same simple guy I was. I'm more cautious, more cynical. I had to become cold and methodical to survive this, and I worry a part of that coldness will stick around. Trusting someone so completely again feels distant. Impossible, maybe. I'm sitting here in my quiet apartment. It's my space, and I'm grateful for that. But there's no triumphant feeling. There's no riding off into the sunset. There is only the quiet, the bill from my lawyer on the counter, and the slow, difficult work of rebuilding on the ground where everything used to be. It's not a happy ending, but it's an ending. And for now, that's enough.